Hi guys, welcome back to Two Moms in a Pod. I'm Kim.
And I'm Ari.
And
this episode comes out after Halloween.
yeah.
Because today is October 30th, Sunday.
Yes.
So tomorrow is Halloween. Did you guys end up buying a costume?
No.
Oh.
I know. No, I lost No, I don't think we're going to. I think we're just going to dress up Ollie. Well, we would have already, by the time this comes out, dressed her up as Moana. Are you guys are gonna wear the costumes you bought? They look so cute.
Oh, you saw them?
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wear them again. But I don't know, because the dress felt uncomfortable.
Why?
It's just the material. It was very kind of itchy and it felt tight. So I bought a large because it's like a fitted dress.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, maybe a large will be a little bit loose and more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's like super fitted and I felt uncomfortable the whole time.
Oh no.
Yeah. On the way back home after the party, my husband took off the Mike Wazowski onesie. Mm-hmm. And I took off my dress in the car while he was driving, and I put on the onesie because I was so uncomfortable.
Oh no.
But it was a cute costume.
Yeah, I know. You guys look so cute all dressed up together.
Yeah, I think we'll wear it again tomorrow, Monday, October 31st.
Yeah. I know. I wish we would have dressed up next year for sure. I'm going to force Caesar to do it next year.
Yeah, it'll be so cute.
Yeah, I love when people dress up together. It looks so cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cute, especially with a family.
Yeah.
It looks so cute.
I think what you need to do is buy the costume and not let him know, and then just tell him the day
You're wearing this.
That's what I kind of did with my husband.
Uh-huh.
But I did ask him, I'm like, do you just want a t-shirt with his face, a hoodie, or a onesie? And he picked the onesie. And then I ended up buying it for him, so he can actually wear it.
Oh.
And that's why he wore it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I think you should do that next time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. I just have to come up. Well, we'll see what Ollie's into, and hopefully we can all be characters from whatever she wants to be dressed up as.
Yeah.
Cute. It has to be something that's comfy to be in.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's gonna get kind of cold at night, and so you have to be comfortable in that aspect too.
I know, I had to wear a jacket over my costume, and I'm like, this defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah.
So you really couldn't see it.
I know. Did Leah have to wear stuff over her costume? Because hers is basically just a pink t-shirt, no?
She wore just her sweater, but I opened up her sweater so you could see the costume, but still you really couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And then I tried doing her pigtails on the side, but she wouldn't let me.
Aww. Her little piggy tails. Her hair is so short still.
I know it's slowly growing, but I feel because she's gonna have super curly hair. Super curly.
Yeah.
So because her hair's really curly, it curls up, and you really can't tell how long it is until we put water in it. We'll see that it's up to her low on her bottom part of her neck.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh. And then you said you guys are gonna go to Ricky's parents' house?
Yeah.
To trick-or-treat over there?
I think we are. We haven't really talked about it recently.
Are you gonna take your siblings, or are your siblings doing their own thing?
I don't know. I think they want to go trick-or-treating, but I think it depends on my parents' work schedule.
Oh.
Yeah. So if they want to go, they're more than welcome to come with us, but I don't know if they want to.
Do your parents usually work late?
My dad does. He'll get off around 6:30, 7. And my mom, it just depends. If she does one house, she'll be done by 2:30. If not, she'll be the latest, I think 3:30.
No, that's not bad.
No, but she just comes home really tired.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it's cleaning, and a lot of the places they want their places to be deep cleaned.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of work, especially if the guests that were staying there are are very dirty,
and
they don't clean up as much as they should. It's just
she cleans up like
Airbnbs. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like there's times that she told me that she thinks it was a big group of people staying there because all the beds were being used, and then it seemed like the couches were being used as bed too, and that there's just a whole bunch of trash and like mess everywhere. Dang. So that's when it takes her the longest to clean, when it's a big group like that. And then también they have to wash every single bed sheet that was being used, and the towels, and that takes a lot of time. Yeah, so I think that's the heaviest work that she has to do, is when like it's a huge party.
Yeah, dang, that sucks.
Yeah. So for today's topic, we're talking about parenting styles.
Parenting, the most controversial topic in the world.
Seriously.
Which I don't understand why. But yeah, there's just so much. I don't know. I think you want, like, as a parent, you want to say that whatever you're doing with your kids is right. Which, like, sure, but also don't tell other people that what they're doing with their kids is wrong.
Yeah.
You know? But for some reason it is. Like, it's such a, like, you can't win, because there's people on one end and there's people on another end, and then there's also just people that like neglect their children.
Right. I don't know, I think a lot of like the older generation too, like parents or like grandparents will like tell us shit of how we're raising our kids.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like in a Hispanic household,
oh yes,
they have opinions. They're like the most opinionated, and like everybody wants to be involved in your parenting. Everybody.
Yes.
And everybody thinks that they know everything. And it's also like, I don't know, and I feel like especially for like older like Mexican like ladies and stuff, like they rely so much on like, which I guess isn't a bad thing. Like I feel like they rely so much on like home remedies, which like isn't a bad thing, but also I feel like medicine and like the medical field has advanced so much since their time that like they don't understand it, and they make it seem like everything that doctors give you is bad, which like, I mean, in a way, yes, it's nice to do, I feel like, home remedies because they seem a lot more natural, but at the same time,
if it's not really working,
like why and then also like they have a lot of like, I don't know if I would call them superstitions, like the whole like, oh, don't walk barefoot because you're gonna get sick. I've heard doctors say that that's not a thing. Or like going outside with your hair wet, don't do that because you're gonna get sick. I don't think that's a thing either. So there's a lot of things like that people say, like especially in the Hispanic community, not to do or to do because it'll like make you sick or things like that. But it's also like, where is the science behind that? Show me the science behind it.
Yeah, like I remember my mom would get mad if I would shower in the morning before going to school, and she'd tell me, no, you can't do that because you're gonna go out into the cold and you're gonna get sick. And I'm like, but why? Like, like I've done it before and I've never gotten sick. And she's just like, because you're in the warm and now you're going out in the cold, you're gonna get sick. I'm like, okay. So I kind of had to stop doing that, and I was shower at night. Because she was just giving me shit all the time.
My entire pregnancy, I went out with wet hair because, really? Because I had, when I was pregnant, I had to shower in the mornings because I would just get so hot so easily, and then so my hair would be like wet every morning, and then obviously leaving at like 6:30 in the morning, it's like still cold outside, and I don't think I ever got sick during my pregnancy.
That's good though. I don't think I got sick during my pregnancy either. But I did have that allergic reaction on my hands.
Yeah.
And it sucked because it was so itchy and they couldn't give me anything for it.
No?
Mm-mm.
They didn't have anything? Like, did they even recommend, like, a lotion or something?
Nope. They told me to stop using lotion, to stop using, like, any cleaning products. And because of work, they told me to stop using gloves. And that's it. But they couldn't give me anything because I was pregnant.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. I wonder, like, why? Like, what is it? Like, is it because it goes into your bloodstream and then
then it goes into the baby and
that's
then...
So weird. Because Leah's 1 already.
Yes.
Ollie's 2. Like, what do you think are some of the, like, main things that you want to, like, teach Leah, I guess? Or, like, how... Like, what is your... Like, how do you see yourself, like, parenting Leah as she, like, gets older?
I don't know. Like, I've seen, like, the gentle parenting and all that stuff. I do want to try and do that. But then I still don't know how to properly do it. So I think my goal is to do gentle parenting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still have to learn how to properly do it because... we do sometimes run out of patience.
Yeah.
And we can sometimes lash out. Like, I've seen this TikTok where this mom tells her kid, to help her put the bowl of food on the table, and she tells him, don't touch the bottom, it's hot. But she tells him, in a gentle tone. And then the kid goes for it at the bottom. And then she tells him again, don't touch the bottom, it's hot. And she keeps raising her voice. And then until the end, she kind of lashes out at him. And yells at him and tells him, don't touch the bottom, it's hot.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, I think that's why I want to try it. But I can't say I'm 100% succeed at it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to do it. And...
Well, because I think with, like... I think with gentle parenting, especially for, like, our generation, because of the way we were raised, I feel like gentle parenting is kind of teaching yourself as you're teaching your kids. It's like you have to teach yourself to regulate your emotions while simultaneously trying to teach your kid to regulate their emotions. Yeah. So, and I think especially, like, depending on how you were raised, that can be hard because it's like we're trying to... And then I think I heard that, like, gentle parenting is kind of healing yourself as you're, like, trying to break that generational trauma when it comes to your kids. So I think that's why it's so hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way. Like, I've heard so much about, like, gentle parenting, and, like, it's obviously... When in my opinion, it's like the ideal way that I would want to parent, but it is a lot of, like, learning to be patient with yourself as well as being patient with your kid. So, like, it's something that I want to do, but I know it's something that's gonna be hard.
Oh yes, yeah. I could already see it, especially because you have a point. It depends the way you were raised as a kid, and my mom did not use that. Hell no, she did not use that.
No,
she was very vocal.
Yeah,
but not gentle.
And then it's also, there's so much, like, I feel like there's so much, how do you say it? Like, people are so critical of gentle parenting. I feel like because they see it as, like, you're being a pushover, or, like, which, like, I don't understand. Like, just because I'm trying to be gentle with my kid, or just because I'm trying to be respectful to my kid, like, why is that me being a pushover? And it's like, I think there's a fine line between, like, letting your kid do whatever they want and kind of guiding them in a sense. And I think it is a lot of, like, the older generation that's like, oh, you're just making your kids soft, or oh, you're not preparing them for the real world, or oh, you're just letting them do whatever they want. You know, but it's like, no, it's like, just because I'm trying to get down to my kid's level and talk to them like they're a person, you know, and like, yeah, I feel like gentle parenting is a lot of like respecting your kid. And I feel like I don't think a lot of people understand the concept of like respecting your kid, because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, I'm the parent, it's what I say and what I say goes. You know?
And also I see it as you're guiding them how to control their emotions, because they don't understand the feelings they're feeling. So, you know, you as an adult, you have to guide them the right way how to handle their emotions, instead of just lashing out or throwing a tantrum or hitting. And I think that's why the judgment comes, because, you know, you let them do, you know, let their emotion out, and then you sit down and talk to them, and that's when they say, oh, you're just being a pushover for letting them do all that. And they'll be like, if that were me, I would have spanked them, or something like that, you know, so they could stop it. But I mean, that's not the right way to do it, because then once they get older, it just brings a lot of trauma to them.
Because it's like, if you're not letting your kid express their feelings, then as they get older, they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to. That's why that's why kids shut down, or that's why, like, for example, me, that's why I don't know how to communicate, because I was never allowed to cry it out. I was never allowed to, like, express emotions to not trigger my parents, or to not get in trouble. And like the whole like your parent getting you in trouble and then getting mad that you're crying doesn't make a lot of sense, you know? It's like, why are you crying? Well, because I'm getting in trouble. And it's just like, you shouldn't be crying. But it's like, but I'm getting in trouble. I'm scared of what you're yelling at me, you know? And I feel like that's where it starts. Like, that's why as you get older, you don't know how to communicate your feelings, because you had to repress them as a kid. So it's like, no, I want my kid to know that it's okay to cry. I want her to know that it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel your feelings, but also do it in a way, like, if she gets mad, okay, it's okay for you to be mad, but there's also a way to do it where you're not, like, as long as you're not hurting yourself or other people, go be mad. Like, that's totally fine, because things make you angry. And being angry or being upset, it's a natural emotion, you know? So it's about teaching your kid that they're okay and allowed to feel those feelings, but in a way that's like safe to them and to other people too, you know?
Like when you were talking about like they would get mad when you would cry, it reminded me when my mom, she would yell at us for something, and of course, you know, our feelings would get hurt and we would cry. And she would tell my siblings and I, ven pa' acá para que te pegue, para que tengas una razón para llorar. And in English, it translates, she was saying, like, come here so I can hit you, so you could have an actual reason to cry. And we would be scared, you know, so after she would say that, you know, we would kind of, like, shut down and, like, stop ourselves from crying, because we were scared to get hit or for something worse. But it just brought a lot of childhood memories when you said that.
And then with the whole like hitting thing, like that like triggers me to no end, because it's like, and I think I saw it on TikTok where this chick was like, if your kid is too young to understand, why would you hit them? And then she's like, and if your kid is old enough to understand, why would you hit them? And that's so true, because it's like, why would you hit your kid if they're too young to understand what they did wrong? And also, if they're old enough to understand what they did wrong, why would you hit them instead of having the conversation with them? You know, so it's like, and you know, I've heard people be like, you know, well, sometimes you just snap. And I'm like,
but that's no reason to hit them.
Yeah, to hit your kid. Like, I don't believe in, like, any type of hitting, whether it's, like, spanking them on the butt or just, like, you know, swatting their hand away. Like, I just don't, because I don't, like, it doesn't process in my head any justification to hit your kid or to like cause any type of physical harm to your kid. You know, and I know like obviously like Mexican or like the older generation is like, oh well, sometimes you have to spank them or sometimes you have so that they can learn. I was like, okay, or you can try to talk to them and get them to understand what it is that they're doing wrong instead of causing them physical harm. You know, and it's like, if like I don't ever want my kid to be scared of me because to a certain extent I was scared of my parents. And it's like, if your kid's learning to be scared, your kid's not learning what it is that they did wrong. They just know that if I do this, I'm gonna get physically hurt, so let me not do that, instead of like, oh, this is why I can't do that, or this is why that's wrong. You know?
And then it also leads to like them doing a lot of stuff behind your back because they're just scared
of the repercussions.
Just, you know, being able to have that open conversation with you about whatever is going wrong with them. When you were talking about hitting, it reminded me when I was taking a class in college, and I think the teacher had asked if we believe in spanking or hitting a kid, like our child. And then there was this guy, he was already older and he had like 3 kids, and he was saying that he doesn't believe hitting your child is appropriate, but he does believe every now and then it needs to happen when they're throwing a tantrum and you've done everything you can with them, you know, like you've talked to them, you've given them what they want. And he was telling a story that his daughter was throwing a tantrum. He talked with her and he told her, if you keep doing this, we're gonna leave the store. And then she still kept doing it, and she wanted whatever she wanted. So he said that he took her to the car and that he spanked her and told her, you don't ever do that at the store and embarrass us like that. And that ever since he did that, she never did it again. And in the back of my head, I'm just like, that's just wrong. Like, why? If anything, I would have just, you know, walked out the store and told her, we're leaving because you're not listening. And we're not gonna cry at the store in front of everyone like that, you know? But I was like, that's just wrong. To go outside into the car and then hit your child. That's just
and then
wrong.
it's like, at that point, you've already left the store. At that point, you're already away from public, which is what you were embarrassed about, was being in public and having your child throw a tantrum. And then it's also like, you're telling me that if a kid's crying and you hit them, you spank them, and now they're in physical pain, they're not gonna cry more. That's what doesn't process in my head. It's like, your kid's gonna cry even more
because they're in pain,
because now they're in physical pain. You know, and like that's what I just don't get. It's like, why would you try to fix something with something that's just gonna make it worse? And then, or if your kid does start crying again, now you're just teaching your kid, one, to take abuse, and then to keep it bottled up inside, because now they're scared to show their emotion because now they're gonna get hit. And that's why a lot of people end up in like domestic abuse situations, because they're taught as kids
that it's okay
to be hit, that it's okay to take that kind of abuse. And that's just crazy to me. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, like, that somebody would justify it like that. You know? And then, again, if they're so small to the point where they don't understand, like, I don't see how that makes it any better. And then if they're big enough to understand, and, like, okay, sure, if they're big enough to understand and they're still doing it, then, like, there's so many other options than to hit your kid. You know, like, it should never be a last resort. It's like, okay, well, now you took her out of the situation, and she's out of the situation at this point. Like, so then his reasoning for doing that was because he was embarrassed. It's like, so you're gonna hit your kid because you got embarrassed? How does that make any sense?
Like, sir, I think you're wrong.
I think you're very wrong. You're very wrong.
And he was an older Mexican guy too, so I was like, of course you would say that. That's never made any sense to me. I think for me, like,
because I feel like, oh, people are always like, oh, just wait till you have kids, like, you know. So it's like, that was my mindset before, and now having her, like, actually being a parent and being a parent of a kid that has thrown tantrums in public, I've still never gotten the urge to hit her. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't think, at least for me, that part of it hasn't changed. Like, yeah, it just hasn't changed since. And, you know, people are always like, oh, just wait until she gets bigger, until she starts throwing tantrums. Like, she has thrown tantrums. Like, she is to an age where, like, she's starting to understand things. And it's like, at least for me, it's been easier to try to teach her to what she can and can't do. But I've literally never gotten the urge to, like, to hit her. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, I have gotten, like, frustrated and, like, needed to take a breather, but even then, again, that's on me to take myself out of the situation, regulate myself, and then come back to it, you know?
Yeah. Leah hasn't thrown tantrums, so I can't, you know, put my 2 cents into that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think what you gave a very good advice is, you know, to pull yourself out of that situation, to take a breather and then come back.
Yeah.
And I think that's when our partners play a big role in, because if they're not there, it's something that my therapist said, you know, like, we're new to parenting and we don't know how to handle situations. So we get frustrated with ourselves, which leads to getting frustrated with our kid. And she was telling me that my husband and I are now a team, and we have to work together when it comes to the baby. And she was saying a good thing to do is, you know, take breaks and let him know, like,
team. You're like, all right, you're it.
Yeah, exactly. She was telling me, you know, like, have this conversation with your partner and let him know that there's gonna be times where you're frustrated with yourself. It's not that you're frustrated with your baby or him, but with yourself, because you don't know how to handle the situation. And let him know that you're gonna need, you know, 10-15 minutes to cool yourself down, gather your thoughts together, and then you'll come back and help him with the baby. But that he needs to be there and help you when you're feeling like that, because just pushing it aside and keep trying to do it the way that you tried to do it is not gonna benefit you or the baby.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna end up getting worse. And I think that's what would happen, you know, in, like, older generations and Mexican generations, because they wouldn't really have that help. And I think especially when they were getting pregnant so young.
Yeah, like, and then they had so many kids. And
I'm pretty sure back then it was always the man working and the mom staying at home with the kids by herself.
Yeah.
So I understand why my mom would do that, because, you know, she was so young and she didn't know how to handle it.
And then it's the way that she was taught. It's the way that she was raised. Yeah.
And as far as I know, my dad wasn't there because, you know, he was always at work. And she was just trying to do the best she knew how to do on her own. And I think a lot of parents get a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, you weren't a good parent because you did that. But it's like, you have to understand that their times were different.
Yeah. And they did the best they could with what they knew. Yeah.
Like, my siblings, they'll say, like, oh, my mom used to hit us a lot, this and that. And, you know, I would take their side too, because, you know, I was there. But now, me being a mom, I'm like, oh, I totally understand what she was going through.
Yeah.
And her being especially a lot younger, I was like, of course she's gonna react the way she did.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's the thing about, like, getting older, and I think seeing, like, starting to see your parents as actual people, you know, and you start to kind of understand them and like see where they came from, and understand that, like, they did the best that they could with what they knew. And the thing is that what they knew is that it's the hitting, it's the yelling, because that's how they were raised, you know? So it's having to understand that, and then choosing for yourself to either let that influence how you choose to lead your life or raise your kids, or choosing to fix it and change it with your kid. And the thing is like, as much as like I want to be like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna try to exercise gentle, respectful parenting as much as I can, and like acknowledging the things, the way that I was raised and the experiences that I had, and trying to fix that with her, but also knowing that I'm gonna fuck up, you know, and that like, yeah, like there's just, I still don't know everything, and like
it's a whole learning progress.
One way or another, I'm still going to do something wrong, you know, because it's just about like learning as we go. And then even if I'm doing something that I think is right, or that I think is the right way, I also still don't know how it's going to affect her in the long run. Like, I can be as gentle and as respectful, but then you still don't know how that's going to affect them until they get older. Yeah. You know, so it's something that's going to get fixed throughout time, you know, and it's something hopefully I do the best that I can with her, and then she does the best that she can with her kids. And if I do something wrong, or if I like, yeah, if I haven't learned a full lesson, you know, hopefully she can take what I gave her and better it from there, you know. So it's about kind of like getting better with each generation, I guess, and getting better with each parent, you know, like my parents, me, her, and the way that she's gonna choose to parent her children, you know.
Guys, I apologize if you hear some weird noises in the background. My daughter's dog is in the room with us. But going into like other parenting style things, you know, we get a lot of shit regarding like, oh, are you gonna breastfeed? Are you gonna formula feed? Are you gonna let them do screen time? Are you gonna do cook actual meals for them? Or are you gonna buy the jar food? You know, like every single thing gets judged, and it's like we have no way to win anything.
And one way or the other, you're wrong.
And it's so dumb, because at the end of the day, you should do what is more convenient for you, what is the easiest, and whatever just works out the best for you.
Like, have you seen those TikToks? I'm pretty sure you've sent me one where like it's like the moms like thinking they're doing the worst thing in the world, and they're just doing everything wrong, and then it's like the kids just chilling, living their best life. You know, because I think it falls so much on us too, where we like overthink things because we want to do right by our kids, and we want to do the best for them, and then we're so critical of ourselves because also we're first time moms. So it's like we don't know what we're doing, so we're trying to do the best that we can. And like our kids are happy and healthy, so it's like they're good. We're just too critical because the world is so critical of everything that we do, you know.
Like I've seen TikToks too where this mom will post that she didn't have any screen time with her kid until he was like 3 or 4 years old, and that he would do a lot of outdoor time and like play with things. But I'm like, how can you do that? You know, because there's a point in time where your baby's gonna get tired of the same old thing, and you know, you have to present them to something else. And then sometimes you can't bring that certain toy that keeps them entertained to a restaurant or like a family gathering. So you have to, you know, the only option is, well, for me, is the phone. Or, you know, screen time. Like, that's what even works with my parents, too, you know. Like, she was telling me that there's times where she's very fuzzy because my mom drops off my siblings at school, or she'll pick them up after school, and sometimes she just doesn't want to be in the car seat.
Yeah.
And so she says she'll give her phone, and then she'll be calm with the phone, and then after a while she'll get bored of the phone and put it away, and she'll start looking outside the window or like talking with my mom.
Yeah.
And it helped her for those couple minutes that she was being fuzzy.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's something that should be judged so harshly.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not like we're having them on the phone 24/7 every single day.
Yeah.
And I just think screen time has a lot of like negative comments towards it. But it's like, if it works, then it works.
Yeah.
It shouldn't get judged.
Yeah.
Like, I don't judge you because you let your kids play with no battery toys.
Yeah. And then, like, I feel like for me, especially now, like, Ollie's at daycare all day. She's at daycare from 7 in the morning until, like, 4. So in that time, she has no screen time. She's doing activities with, the kids and the daycare lady. So it's like, a lot of the time, by the time she gets home, she's kind of played out. Like, she's kind of already, like, I've done activities that don't involve a screen. And, like, just like me, my girl likes to chill with her iPad and watch her shows. She likes to watch her cartoon, and she likes to, and then even then, she's very much like, I'll be the first to admit that, yes, I think she does use her iPad a lot, but at the same time, I feel like she's it hasn't become a problem. Like, she's very good at, like, she'll use it and she'll be chilling, and then she'll kind of just drop it and then, like, go and play with her toys. So she's not, like, on it, like, constantly from the time she gets home until the time she goes to sleep. And she has a lot of breaks in between where she, like, gets off the bed and goes and plays with her toys, or like if it's time, like dinner time, we'll go outside, and usually she like plays with the boys, or she'll like run around. The boys meaning her uncles, my brother and Caesar's brother. So she has a lot of time where she chooses not to be on her iPad. And then also it's never been an issue when she goes to bed. I think maybe if it starts to become an issue where, like, she doesn't want to go to sleep because she wants to be on her iPad, or, like, she doesn't want to do things because she wants on her iPad, then obviously we'll try to cut back. But as far as now, like, if we tell her, okay, it's bedtime, say bye-bye to iPad, she says bye-bye to her iPad, and then she takes her bottle and she rolls over and goes to sleep, So, yeah, like, obviously we're not perfect with it, but I feel like she spends enough time off of it to where, like, I guess I can kind of justify giving her iPad when she gets home, Yeah.
And it's just like us, like, we get overstimulated at work and, doing other things. Sometimes we just need a break and chill and watch TV or watch our shows or whatever. I think it's the same for kids. They get overstimulated with playing with their toys or doing whatever they were doing, so they need a break too, and just chill and watch whatever they like to watch.
And then, like, I don't know, I don't really see the harm in her, like, watching Miss Rachel or watching Blippi or watching Elmo or watching just her.
And it's not like they're watching things they shouldn't be watching. It's always something educational.
Like, she has her kids, like, we have the kids YouTube on her iPad, and then she also plays a lot of I think it's called, like, Kidopia or something like that. And it's a lot of, like, kids games where she, like, does puzzles, or she does
educational
like
stuff.
The games that we tried, I think it's only, like, one game that she has on her iPad, but it's an educational game. Like, she's learning letters and she's learning shapes, and this girl already knows what a hexagon is.
Oh my god!
Like, she knows what an oval is, and I'm
she
just like,
she knows her shapes.
And it's just like, if she's learning from it, I don't see the harm in it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as far as like the whole like food, that's been hard, is like the whole food thing. And then when she was like barely starting to eat, I did attempt the whole like, making her food. But it also, like, when you're working full time or like you're working in general, it does take time to like get home and steam vegetables and then puree them and then do all of that. So yes, I did in the beginning try to do her food myself, like puree her food myself. But she also had jarred food.
Yeah.
She did. She had jarred food. And even now, like, I feel like they go through phases, because like she used to really like almost everything. Like she loved, like she would eat beans and she would eat like different things, and now she doesn't like beans. Like she won't. I don't know, something about the texture, I don't know, but there's things that she used to like that she now doesn't like. So like feeding her can be a struggle. But then like I've heard like they go through phases where like sometimes they don't want to eat, or sometimes they're eating a lot, and it's just like either way I don't win, because it's like I'm getting judged because I'm giving her chicken nuggets and fries, but like I need my daughter to eat, you know. Sometimes we're just like, she needs to eat something, so if she wants to eat some chicken nuggets and fries, she's gonna eat some chicken nuggets and fries, you know.
When she started eating, I was getting a lot of comments saying to not do the pureed food, because then once they get older and they feel the actual texture of food, they wouldn't want to eat it, and they would just want the pureed stuff. So, you know, I did start off with trying to give her as much solids as she can eat, and it was just a hassle, because they give you this chart of what to feed them in 100 days. And it was stressful for me, because they would tell me to give her a new food and then introduce her to another food in 3 days, just to see if she had an allergic reaction. But then there was that other stress of like, you have to get all these other foods in within the 100-day period. And it's like, how can I get all these foods in this short amount of time, and also giving her that time to make sure if she has an allergic reaction to it. You get me?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like frustrating for me to introduce her to something, but then being cautious of like her not having an allergic reaction. And another thing was, they would tell me to introduce her to like Greek yogurt or like lamb or these other vegetables that I don't eat, or that I would incorporate in my dinners. Yeah. So it's like, what's the point of introducing her to these foods if I'm not gonna ever cook them again and have them in our everyday meals? Yeah. So it's like, it was frustrating, because I would have to be like, why buy this if I'm not gonna eat it eventually? And then for her
she's
not
gonna
to
go to
like,
waste. And then like you buy things, and then it's like, she can only have so much of it, and when you're introducing it to them, it's a little bit. So then like
the whole rest goes to waste.
So then that's a waste of money, and like things go bad, and you just have to end up throwing it away. And then if you're supposed to wait the 3 days, so then like you can't, you know, like so it's hard to like, it's so hard to know what and when and how to like feed your kids, because I heard the same thing with like the purees and stuff, but I mean, I don't think I had any issue in like transitioning her to like more solid foods. Like she's never
Ollie,
she
turned out to be a good eater.
That girl will eat. She eats so much like of whatever she decides she does eat. And then that too, like I feel like with food, and when it comes to like her eating, and like judge me if you want, but I feel like I'm very lenient with her, because I don't want her to develop a bad relationship with food. Like, I never want to be like, oh, you are gonna eat at this time, and that's the time you have to eat, and if you don't eat, then you're, because I remember having that, like, oh, this is what we're eating, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm not hungry, and then not being allowed to leave the table until I finish my food.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
My dad, oh my god, Albert, because Albert doesn't like beans, and when he was younger, like, I remember there was so many times where, like, my dad would make him sit at the table for hours. He would be crying because he's like, I don't like beans, but my dad would be like, you're gonna eat them. And it's like, that's not good.
No.
Like, I'm very much like, if she tries something and she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it. Like, I'm not gonna force my kid to eat something she doesn't like. And then it's like, if I make something and she doesn't eat it and she doesn't like it, I'm not gonna let my kid starve. I'm going to make her something different, you know? And I know, like, especially with, like, our parents, they're like, I'm not a restaurant, you're gonna eat what's made. But it's like, when they're that small, like,
they have to get their food.
My only goal is that my daughter eats, and if she wants to eat at a different time than me, that's totally fine. If she wants to eat something different than me, that's totally fine with me, because I want her to have a good relationship with food, and I want her, as long as she tries something and then she's like, nah, I don't like it, then that's it. As long as she tries it. Yeah, but I'm never gonna, like, force my kid to eat
something they don't like.
Yeah, because that's not fair. I don't eat shit I don't like. Why would I make my kid eat something they don't like?
Yeah, like, my mom, she wouldn't let us leave until we finished everything that was on our plate. Or she would tell us, my sisters were talking about this the other day, they were telling me, oh, do you remember the time mom would make us eat, she would make us finish what we were eating, and she would tell us, like, oh, just take one more spoon, like, one more spoon, but she would pack the spoon so we could get at least half of what was on the plate. And that's how it would always be. Like, if we didn't want to eat and there was still a lot on the plate, she would tell us to eat one more spoon, and it would be like a full spoon of something.
I know, my dad would do the same, where he'd be like, okay, eat half, and then he'd supposedly split my plate in half, and it'd be like, can I eat the smaller portion, because this is not half. Like, I remember that being a thing where, like, it was the same thing, we couldn't leave the table unless we finished our plate. And then the thing is like, I feel like, again, we're Hispanic, so I can't talk on any other, like, culture or any other race. I just know that in a Hispanic household, like, I feel like we overfeed. So we pack our plates. And I think that's why, and I'm not saying I just think my relationship with food is very weird. I'm working, I don't know, anyways. I tend to overeat, even, well, not right now, but I tend to overeat. And I know it's bad, because I will eat until I am so full. And I feel like it's because growing up, my plates were packed. My plates were always packed with, and they were always packed with, like, my dad would make, like, 4 things. You know, he'd make eggs, and he'd make beans, and he'd make rice, and he'd make, like, everything. So it's like, our plates are packed. They're packed with so many different foods, and, like, you're supposed to finish the entire plate. And now, even if I say I serve myself and, like, I finish my plate and I'm like, oh, I'm, like, kind of full, but I'm not full, I'll reserve myself, and then I'll finish the entire plate, and then I'm like, I can't breathe. So with Ollie, like, I'm very much like, she varies on how much she eats. Sometimes she'll eat more, sometimes she'll eat less, but I'm kind of like, whatever she eats, because one, I don't want to overfeed her, and then, like, 2, I don't know, I just want her to be able to have, I know she's 2, but I want her to be able to have some control over, like, what she's doing or eating, you know? Yeah,
that's how it's been with Leah. There's times where I'll feed her what I have cooked for dinner, and sometimes she doesn't want to eat that. So, I'll offer her something else just so she can have something to eat, because I don't want her to go to bed with an empty stomach. And, there have been times where she just doesn't want to eat at all. And, I'll keep offering her all these things, and she just doesn't want it. So I'm not going to keep forcing her to eat something if she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And at the end of the night, I feel bad because she didn't eat as much as I think she needs to eat. But again, if she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And I know in our culture, we get a lot of backlash because they're like, why are you letting her go to sleep without food? Why are you letting her continue with her day without eating lunch? But it's like, if she doesn't want it,
she doesn't want it.
Yeah, and if she wants to eat, she'll ask for food.
Yeah.
Or I'll try again in a couple minutes or in an hour, or I'll offer her snacks. But yeah, I just don't think it's healthy to force them to eat when they don't want to eat.
Yeah, and then especially with younger kids, because I know there was a point where Ollie was eating, her eating habit changed where she wasn't really eating much, and Caesar and I were like, what is happening? And then we looked it up, and it's sometimes kids go through that phase where they literally aren't eating much, and they're it's totally fine. If your kid eats one meal in the day, it's okay, especially because they're small and their stomachs are so tiny. So it's they don't have the room, and then it's and then if they drink milk throughout the day, that's also, especially when they're smaller, because they are having formula or they are having whatever milk, that's, to them, sometimes that is a meal.
Yeah, and it fills them up.
Yeah.
Right now I have her little plates, and it's divided. So I'll offer her different things, and sometimes she won't touch a certain thing, or she'll drop it for her dog to eat. And she'll, at least I know she ate part of whatever was on her plate, and that alone is comforting enough to know that she at least ate something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just knowing that she did eats at least something off of her plate, it's comforting enough to know that she had some food in her.
Yeah.
And I know in Hispanic culture it's no, she needs to eat more. No, that wasn't enough.
I feel they just like to overfeed us.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, because I know the other day, I think it was sometime last week, and I think it was maybe 2 or 3 days in a row where she wasn't eating much, or she kind of didn't want to eat, and Caesar's mom mentioned it to Caesar. He's oh, maybe está empachada, or she's not eating, it's not good, and this and that. And then Caesar told me, and he's like yeah, but she eats at daycare, and sometimes they would have just finished eating when we pick her up. So it's maybe she's just still full. Maybe she also my girl, I guess the lady had made albondigas for all the kids to eat, and Ollie didn't want it, and that she requested a quesadilla. I was so this girl was and then the lady's okay, well, what do you want? And she's a quesadilla. Aww. So she made her a quesadilla. But yeah, and it's just she eats at daycare, so a lot of the time she doesn't want to eat. And then also my bad, sometimes she gets home and she's I want a cracker, and sometimes me and her will finish a pack of crackers. And then I understand, and then she'll have her crackers, and then she'll have water, so she's snacking, so then obviously she's not gonna want to eat dinner. Yeah. And that's my bad on my part, but she wants a cracker, I'm not gonna say no. Yeah,
at least she's asking for
food. I like to snack sometimes too, so she's allowed. Yeah. But yeah, so Caesar was I don't think it's that she's not eating enough, I think it's that she eats, and sometimes she will eat more and other times she'll eat less, but I'm pretty sure it's like if she ate a lot at daycare, she's not going to want to come home and eat 2 hours later, you know? But
yeah, that's how it is with Leah too, because sometimes I expect them to feed her by a certain time, so by the time we pick her up and eat dinner here, she'll want to eat dinner with us. But, you know, obviously it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
They're going to eat whenever they want to eat. So there's times where we pick her up and she had just ate with my mom, like a couple minutes or an hour before we picked her up. So by the time we get home, she doesn't want to eat. Or they've offered her, like, a cracker or a cookie or whatever. And she just doesn't want to eat. So it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
To not have her eat dinner with us. Because I'm not going to overstuff her.
Yeah.
And have her have an upset stomach later in the day, and then for her to be all fuzzy.
Yeah.
So I think us as first-time moms or any parent, we have to be gentle with ourselves when it comes to things like that, because regardless of what older generations say, you know, again, it's something that worked for them. And it's something that had a negative effect for their children in the future. I think it's just us learning from their mistakes. Yeah. And seeing what works best for our kids. And what we think it's best for our kids and not what other people think. Yeah. So I think us first-time parents have to be gentle. Yeah. And kind to ourselves when it comes to things like that, because it just works different for every kid and every family and every generation. Yeah.
And then, like, even if you're not a first-time parent, like, even if you're, like, on your second or third kid,
like, you're still learning.
And then you learn a lot from your first kid. Like, I know, like, whatever we've learned so far, I'm obviously going to
apply to your future
kids. I'm gonna.
But then again, you also have to remind yourself that every kid is different. And whatever worked for the first one might not work for the next second one. Or the third or whatever.
So it's okay to change as you go. It's okay to learn as you go. It's okay to implement different things as you go. Because as you're going, you're learning and then sometimes you do something with your first kid and you're like, okay, I did this and it didn't work. Let me do something different with my second kid or my third kid or however many kids you have. And it's like, it's just a learning process, like, as you go. And then obviously, like, as your first kid is growing, like, you're learning more with them. And then you can see, kind of feel it out, what works, what doesn't work, and, like, implement that with, like, your future kids.
And then I think that also goes into breastfeeding and formula. Like, obviously, we're always encouraged to breastfeed because they get the most nutrients and all the good things from breastfeeding. But if it didn't work out and if it's just stressing you out, you know, just switch to formula. Or sometimes our bodies don't produce as much milk as we wish it would. And that's okay, and we shouldn't feel bad or feel the pressure to try. Like, I know they say there's like certain milks that you can drink or certain drinks or foods that we can eat so we could produce more milk, but it's just a stressor on ourselves.
Like, it's so, like, you already have this, like, newborn baby, and you're trying so hard to, like, do what you need to do for them, and you're learning how to take care of them, and then to add all these extra, like, foods and drinks and all these extra things just so you can produce more milk. That's just such an added stressor. And it's like, well, maybe I don't want to stress myself out about it when I can just give my kid formula that obviously they make formula and it's nutritious and it's made for babies who aren't breastfed. So it's like, if there's an alternative, then there's an alternative, and that's okay. Because I know, like, with me, I didn't produce much milk, and also it hurts so bad. I was not expecting how badly it hurt. Like, the fact that, like, I was bleeding.
And you were bleeding?
Yes, I was bleeding out of my nipples. It's like, I also don't want to put my kid's mouth on something that's, like, scabbing, basically.
Yeah.
You know? And then, so I tried for a little bit. It, like, wasn't working. I wasn't producing. I even tried pumping, and I think when I was just like, this freaking hurts, whether it's the pump or whether it's Ollie, like, it hurts. And 2, I'm sitting here for like 30-45 minutes and I'm producing 1 ounce from both like, that's not. So I decided to formula feed. And then now Caesar is like, okay, so then for our future kids, like, are you gonna try? He's like, I think you should try to breastfeed. And I was just like, if I produce milk, maybe, but I don't know that I want to breastfeed. I was like, I tried it and it hurt and I was uncomfortable, and I was always so worried that she wasn't getting enough, because I can't tell. Like, I don't know how to tell that she's getting enough. And I was like, I don't think that for the next one I'm going to breastfeed. And he's like, well, you should at least try. And I was just like, again, it's very easy for you to say you want me to try, and then for him it's mostly because formula is expensive. Trust me, like, that's such a thing that I hope by the time we have the next one that the shortage is not as bad as it is now. But I'm just like, I don't know. I wasn't breastfed. My mom was like, I don't like breastfeeding, I'm not gonna breastfeed any of you. So she didn't breastfeed us. And it's just like preference, you know. It's also sometimes just about preference. Like, I just don't want to breastfeed, you know.
And again, just don't put yourself in another stressful situation just because of what other people are saying, or what your parents are saying, or whoever is saying it. You know, it's whatever, again, works the best for you and what's more comfortable to you. Because they're not the ones doing it. They're not the ones breastfeeding your kid. You're the one they're dealing with the stress and the pain.
And then to have, like, other people's opinion on it is just like, I don't know. Like, Caesar's mom's like, oh, I breastfed Caesar until he was 3. I'm like, one, I was never going to breastfeed my kid past like 6-7 months. I really wasn't. Like, I just never planned on it. So there's no way in hell that I was going to breastfeed my kid past a year old. Like, there's just no way. Like, if my kid can walk up to me and be like, I want your boob, I'd be like, okay, time to cut it off.
Oh my God. I know there's a lot of, like, talk about that too, because they say, if they still want my milk, why not? But it's like, there has to be a point where it stops, you know? And I know a lot of people were like, well, if they want it, you know, and I still produce it, they can have it. And they're like, it's a bond that you guys connect with each other. And I'm like, I don't know. It's preference, you know. Whatever everyone feels comfortable with, you know.
And I'm like, I'm glad you felt a bond when you were breastfeeding. I was like, I didn't. Honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, I didn't feel. I mean, I felt a bond with her because she's my kid, and obviously I bonded with her the second she came out of me. But there was nothing, I didn't see or feel anything special with her breastfeeding other than me being in pain and wanting it to be over. If I'm being 1000% honest, it wasn't this special bonding experience for me. It was just like, fuck, this hurts. And then to think that at some point she was going to get teeth. Oh, heck no. There's no way in heck. And then call me selfish, call me whatever you want, but breastfed babies feed a lot more. Sometimes they cluster feed, meaning they want to feed like almost immediately after they're done. And I'm like, I know how exhausted I was formula feeding, and that was every 2 to 3 hours. I'm like, imagine breastfeeding where, like, your kid wants to be breastfed more than that throughout the night. I don't think I can do that. For my mental health, I do not think I can breastfeed because they cluster feed. They want to eat so much more. And I don't think that I can do that. I really don't.
And then formula is a little bit thicker, right? So it could fill them
so
up.
it lasts longer. That's why you feed them they go more hours without feeding because it's thicker, because they're filled more.
Yeah. As to breast milk, it's a lot thinner and they want it more often. And I'm pretty sure that's stressful. Another stressor added on. Yeah. And that's not healthy. Yeah. So, yeah, at the end of the day, do whatever you feel comfortable with and screw whatever everyone else thinks, because it's your body, it's what you're dealing with, and it's your kid. Yeah. So it's screw them.
Yeah, literally. And not to discourage anybody from breastfeeding. Like, if it works for you, if you produce, if you feel some type of special bond, more power to you. Like, that's so great for you. That's like, obviously that's good. That's great. But if you are able to and you're doing it and you see somebody who's formula feeding, like, don't judge them. Yeah. And then also, it's like, how much more difficult would it have been for me to go back to work and having to take breaks to friggin' pump? Yeah. And then the like weird thing about like having to store it in the fridge. Obviously, I would have to take like a lunch, like a bag or something to put it in. But then knowing that like my breast milk is in the fridge at work, and then me knowing how I am, I'd probably forget it there. And then you have to mark, and then there's certain amount of hours, and there's just so much time sensitivity when it comes to storing breast milk that like that I feel like is another stressor. And again, not to discourage anybody from breastfeeding, you do you, but for me, it seems like too much. Yeah. It does. No, it seems like a lot.
But I mean, if it works out for you, then go for it. But
do you think for future, like, are you gonna try again, or are you gonna or does it just depend?
Well, for Leah, I did produce a good amount of milk. It was just that I was struggling so much for her to latch on, and I feel like I gave up too soon. So yeah, I think for the next one, if we have another one, I would want to try breastfeeding, just to give it a try, and not give up so easily like I did with Leah, because I literally felt like I tried it like 5 times and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah. And I think it takes more than just 5 tries to do it. Yeah. But I did try to pump, and I did try to store the milk and, feed her my breast milk. But then again, it came to the time sensitive thing, that if you don't feed her the milk by a certain time, it's not good anymore, and you have to store it in the refrigerator or store it in the freezer, and it's like,
and then you have to defrost it in a certain way, and
it was just like, I don't know how to properly do this, and I was doing my research on how to do it, but like everything that I was researching said a completely different thing from the other thing. So it's like, how do I know that I'm not giving her spoiled milk? Yeah. How do I know that this milk is still good? How do I know that I didn't mark this milk wrong? You know? Yeah. So it was stressful with the whole storing the milk thing. Yeah. And if I do want to do it for the next one, then I'm going to have to do a better research than what I did.
Yeah. And then that was such a thing with like, and I felt so overwhelmed like with the whole like latching thing, because for me, I was in the hospital for like 3 days, and like the lactation specialist came and she told me one way how to do it, but then almost every nurse that came in told me something different. And then I know there was one nurse who told me to do, I think they call it the football hold.
Oh yeah, when you put it right here, like under your armpit.
Yeah, and then she put her like that, and then I honestly didn't know how to get her out of it. I was like, how do I maneuver this child into, like, I was like, I'm new at this, I don't know how to handle a baby, like, I don't know how to do this. And so like every single nurse would tell me something different, and one of them was like, no, you're doing it wrong, you have to do like this. And I'm like, I'm doing it how the lactation specialist told me. And like that was so overwhelming too, was like I didn't know if I was doing it right, because every single nurse was basically telling me something different. And then I felt so like I felt so scared that she couldn't breathe sometimes too, because
of like, you have to stuff them.
Yeah, you have to basically squish her onto it, and then it was so hard to hold it, but also hold my boob, and then also try to move it in a way where I could see her nose and make sure that she was breathing. I'm gonna suffocate my child with my boob,
right? I know.
Yeah, it's so hard.
It is hard.
And then I guess again, I didn't know anything about breastfeeding going into it, so I didn't take any I know they have the nipple classes. Balms and the stuff that you could put on it so that they don't basically your nipples don't get chapped. And I didn't know that, so I'm pretty sure that's why by the time I got home, my breasts were like that. They were basically chapped. It's having really chapped lips, and they were scabby and bleeding, and I think that's why, because I didn't know anything going into it, so I didn't take anything you know. But yeah,
I know. Also, they would offer me breastfeeding classes while I was pregnant, and I should have taken advantage of that, so I wouldn't have struggled so much. But then, because I was pregnant during COVID time, everything was online, and I'm more a hands-on visual learner. So for me to do it online, it wasn't gonna help. I knew I wasn't gonna learn anything from it. So if you guys, are expecting, or you're gonna want a kid in the future and you have that resource available, I say take advantage of it if that's something you really want to do, because it can be helpful, and it might make breastfeeding a lot easier for you. So definitely take advantage of any classes that are offered through your hospital or whatever. Because it can be very helpful. I should have taken advantage of it, but I didn't.
And then again, just remember that whether you breastfeed or you don't breastfeed, whether you try and you fail, or you try and you decide you don't like it, or you try and you succeed, good on you. Good job. Good job. Either way, good job. Good job to you.
You got this. You're just going with what feels comfortable to you, what feels more natural to you. And just don't fall into other people's judgment. Because whatever worked for them might not work for you, and it might not work for your baby.
Because I thought it was so funny where Caesar's mom was she's I breastfed all of them. I breastfed Caesar till I was 3. And then I asked my mom, she's none of you got breastfed. I didn't like it. She's are you gonna breastfeed? And I was just oh, I don't know. Before I had her, I was I don't know. Obviously I'm going to try, but And she's she's I didn't like it. None of you guys got breastfed. I was okay. I was cool.
Nice to know.
She's and you guys are all good. She's you're alive, you're healthy. It doesn't matter. I was okay, Ma.
It just depends. Whatever one's comfortable with. So I guess that answers outside advice, outside help, how we feel about it. I think any advice you get is good, but don't feel pressured to do every single thing that's being told to you, because again, like I said, what might have worked for someone else might not work for you. And I think just try it and see what works best for you. Because I know my mom, she would advise me to do certain things, and I would try them, I would give it a try, but at the end of the day, it didn't work for me, and I would stop doing it, and I would find another way that would work for me. And of course, I would get criticism by her for it, but the way I told her, it's I'm here with my baby 24/7 by myself, and I have to find a way that works the best for me and my baby. Because you're not here with me all day, and I'm not getting help when everyone else is at work. So obviously I'm just gonna do what works best for me, especially when they're so little.
Yeah.
I think that's when I felt the loneliest.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, that's nice, they come and they help, but they come when they're off work.
Yeah.
And so then in the morning, throughout the afternoon, you're alone and you have to figure it out on your own. And it's like, fuck, like, who do I go to for help if everyone's at work?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just do whatever works for you, because no one's gonna be there all day with you. Yeah. Like you are with your baby. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the advice I give on taking advice from someone else.
Yeah. And then it's just what you feel is right for you and your kid. Like, I know I got judged a lot because I carried Ollie so much. Mm-hmm. And like, I would, she's gonna, se va acostumbrar a los brazos, she's gonna get used to being carried, you're not gonna be able to put her down, she's not gonna be able to sleep by herself, you have to let them cry it out, because it supposedly develops their lungs and this and that. And I was just like,
yes, I heard that from my mom too.
I was like, nope, if my child wants to be held, my child is going to be held. Yeah. Because it is scientifically proven that the cry it out method negatively affects your kid. Mm-hmm. I've done research on it. I did a lot of research from it, because I was getting a lot of shit from a lot of people about the crying it out, and it is scientifically proven that it negatively affects your kid and their emotions. Mm-hmm. And just because after a few nights your kid stops crying doesn't mean that your kid is not stressed. Doesn't mean, by you, again, do whatever you want. But for me, letting your kid cry it out is not them self-soothing. It's them realizing that you are not coming to provide the comfort that they need. Mm-hmm. It is them learning to suppress their emotions. Mm-hmm. This is psychologically and scientifically proven that letting your kids cry it out in their crib is them learning to suppress their emotions. Their stress levels are exactly the same, they're just not screaming. Mm-hmm. So your kids are not finding comfort, they're just learning that them calling out for you, them crying, is them calling out for you. You are not coming. The person that is supposed to provide them comfort is not coming. And so they're not crying anymore, but they are still as stressed out because they want comfort. Yeah. So for me, and then I literally never had an issue with putting her down. Mm-hmm. I carried her a lot, and I never had an issue putting her down. Mm-hmm. She's, till this day, she doesn't care to be carried. Mm-hmm. Sometimes she'll get like in a mood where she wants to be carried, and I'll pick her up, but then after a couple minutes I'll put her down and she's totally fine. Yeah. Sometimes she just wants a hug. And then for me, I'm like, I just keep thinking like she's gonna get to a point where she's too big and she doesn't want me to hold her. Yeah. So I'm gonna hold her. And then when they're so tiny, like, how can you not want to hold them? Like, they're tiny and they smell so good, and like, you just want to hold them. And I held my kid a lot, but when I would put her down, she would be fine. She'd fall asleep in my arms, and I'd put her down and she'd stay asleep. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that some kids don't get used to it and some kids have a harder time. It happens. I don't know. For me, I'm gonna always pick up my kid when she cries. Yeah, that was something that I got from my mom too, was not to carry her too much porque se acostumbrar a los hombros, and then she's not gonna want to lay down. Mm-hmm. And I always thought of what you had told me. It's that, no, you're gonna carry your baby whenever you want to. Mm-hmm. That's you letting them know that you're there for them, and you're comforting them, and that they can rely on you whenever they need you, because they were in you for so long, and now they're out in a world where things are louder and they're different, and they're not, and they like your smell, and they like your comfort. So it's like, to deny them that sounds mean to me. I don't know. I mean, again, it goes back to like beliefs of older generations, and times have changed. And I think for them, they had to put their kids down. Mm-hmm. So I understand it, because I feel like for them they had to, because I feel like when they had multiple kids and mm-hmm. they were trying to do everything by themselves, and they were mm-hmm. trying to clean and cook and take care of all these other kids, so it's not a surprise that they had to put their kids down, and they couldn't always pick up their kids. And maybe because they let them cry it out and their kid eventually stopped crying, to them they thought, okay, this is what works. Yeah. But because now, again, medicine and psychology and all of that has advanced so much, and there's studies that have been done, now we know why. Mm-hmm. And there's reasons to why. Mm-hmm. You know.
But yeah, just do whatever is best for you.
Yeah.
You know, whatever mm-hmm. you feel more comfortable with.
Yeah.
And yeah, just don't fall into other people's judgments.
Yeah, and if people are telling you different things, do your own research and figure out what you are most comfortable with. And mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying that like if you let your kid cry, you're a bad parent, because I understand sometimes you just gotta go pee, or sometimes you're in the middle of doing something and like you have to let your kid cry for a second. Mm-hmm. You know, and that doesn't make you a bad parent. You know, mm-hmm. I'm not saying anybody's a bad parent, because you're doing a good job regardless of what it is that you are and aren't doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're struggling, or if like you don't know what works, just do your own research and kind of figure it out from there.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I was like, I'm getting so many contradicting things, and I'm feeling this need to pick up my child, and then I did so much research on it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick up my kid.
Yeah. That's the same thing I did when she would cry, mm-hmm. and my mom would tell me like, no, let her cry it out, she needs to cry, mm-hmm. it's gonna develop her lungs and mm-hmm. all this other stuff. And my dad said the same thing, mm-hmm. and I'm like, but I don't feel comfortable letting mm-hmm. her cry. Like mm-hmm. I have this urge to just pick mm-hmm. her up and comfort her, and mm-hmm. that's what I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. And my mom would just be like, Guy, you need to let her cry it out, you need to let her cry it out, this and that. And I'm like, no, like I don't, like her hearing her cry doesn't make me feel comfortable in mm-hmm. just ignoring it. Like mm-hmm. I just can't do that. Yeah. Like I have to pick her up.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do, regardless of the eye rolls that I would get from my mom, or yeah. like the criticism that I would get from my mom.
Yeah.
And she turned out fine.
Yeah.
Like she's a good, healthy baby. Like
yeah.
she's not una berrinchuda. Mm-hmm. You know, like she's happy. She's a good baby.
Yeah.
And nothing changed by me not picking her up.
Except she got the cuddles she wanted.
Yes.
And per usual, to end the episode, we're going to do our oopsie of the week.
Someone shared theirs
on
our
did?
Instagram story.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I heard, but you need to tell it, because I obviously don't know it. Okay, we could share our listener oopsie first.
So my cousin, I'm not gonna share her name, because I don't know if she wants her name to be out there. She told me that, so she posted on her story that her husband her boyfriend sent her a picture of his shoes, uh-huh. and they were two mismatched shoes. Mm-hmm. Like they were the same color, but they were different. Mm-hmm. And I guess he went out on a trip for work, mm-hmm. and I guess she was like half asleep or something when she packed him his bag, and she told him, well, at least I didn't give you two left shoes, because mm-hmm. she packed him two different shoes. But
she packed them.
Yeah, she packed them. She packed him two different shoes. Uh-huh. I think one was like an actual work shoe, and then the other one was like an Adidas shoe.
Oh no.
And yeah, she was telling me that she told him, well, you can go to the store and buy, a matching pair. Uh-huh. But he didn't want to, so he just kept wearing the two mismatched shoes.
For how many days, do you know?
I think she said he was going to be out there for like 3 days.
Oh, no. You could have just said it's a fashion statement.
Right?
That's so funny. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing your oopsie of the week.
Which, by the way, she was the only one that shared it. No one else wanted to share their oopsie.
Guys, you have to interact with us. Okay, so mine. Okay, so we went to Disneyland, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were leaving, and we were so tired. We were like done. We were like, my feet were literally hurting so bad I could barely walk. And we went to the wrong parking structure. So we were literally like, okay, we're almost there. And then I was just like, but this doesn't make sense, because we were parked at, I think it was like 8G or something, like, or 8H. And I was just like, but this says 6H and our car's not here. And I was like, I think we're in the wrong building.
Yeah.
So we had to walk all the way back, and we finally made it to the right one, and we were almost to the car, right? And Caesar's like, did you lose your phone? And I'm like, no. I was like, why? And then he's like, I just got a message. He got a text message from my phone saying, hey, I found this phone. I'm going to take it to the Lost and Found at Disney. And I was just like, there's no freaking way. And I look in the diaper bag and my phone isn't there.
But how were they able to send him a text?
I don't know. That's what I was just like. So I had my phone, and we had bought Ollie a little, like, the autograph book, and I had some things, and I had it in the shade thing on the stroller, but it was pushed back, so it was in the crack of everything, right? And before we got on the tram, obviously you have to fold the stroller, and I swear I saw my phone, and I put everything in the diaper bag, and then obviously Caesar folded up the thing, and we got on the tram, and then we were almost to the car, and then I guess I didn't take it out of there, and I'm pretty sure that when we got in the tram and he folded the stroller, it must have fell out. It was on the tram. And yeah, so we're like almost to the car, and he gets the text, and I'm like, I fucking lost my phone. So to whoever on December 18th, it was a Tuesday, if you found a phone with a like lilac phone case that had a picture of a little girl eating a pizza, thank you for returning it to the Lost and Found. So and the thing is like, I was so freaking tired that I was almost like, it's not worth it to go back.
You weren't gonna go back for your phone.
Caesar's like, can you go? I was like, no. I was like, I can't. I'm so tired. I can barely walk. Like, no. So Caesar, my poor Caesar, he had to walk all the way over there.
Where's the Lost and Found, though?
And that's the thing, is that at first he asked the tram person, like, where it was, and they had told him it was inside Disneyland. And that's what I had thought, like, when he left, I was, like, changing Ollie's diaper, and then I saw that I had the tickets, and I was like, fuck, what if he needs the tickets to get inside Disneyland? But luckily it wasn't. It was, like, kind of, like, it was outside the gates, but, like, kind of off to the side.
Oh, okay.
And then he, like, went, and he's, like, it's funny, because he's, like, oh, like, I think my wife lost her phone, and then they were, like, oh, like, what's the screensaver? He's like, oh, it should be a picture of my daughter eating a pizza. And that the lady goes, oh, yeah, I know which one. Yeah, I was just like, oh my god. But and it wasn't, I mean, good thing it was, like, on the tram, and, like, when we were leaving, and then I was just like,
inside the park.
Yeah, and then I was like, what if we wouldn't have gone to the wrong, like, parking lot, and wouldn't have had to walk all the way back and then walk to the next one? What if we would have been in the car, like, leaving? Like, he would have had to repark, or I don't know. But yeah, so my oopsie was that I almost lost your phone.
Oh,
I was like, that could have been, I would have probably had to pay, like, a couple $100s to get it replaced.
Oh no, that would suck.
Yeah.
And then you had just spent so much because you guys went to San Diego and then Disneyland.
Yeah, it would have been bad. So if you found my phone, I'm pretty sure it was a Disney worker. I'm pretty sure they probably go through all the trams, like, once people get off, to make sure. But yeah, thank you for returning my phone. Because had it been anybody else, they probably just would have stole it.
Yeah, they would have taken it.
And then the fact that they were able to get into my phone, like,
yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
What I'm wondering, like, how.
I don't know if maybe I didn't
lock it.
I didn't like click because I had it. Because when we're here, I usually have it set to not lock unless I lock it, because like I don't like having to keep opening my phone like I have been this entire time. So I don't know if maybe I had opened it and then put it there and didn't lock it.
Yeah.
But she texted him from my phone.
Dang.
I was just like, oh my god, that would have been so bad. And Caesar was like so pissed. Well, no, he was just like, I can't believe you lost your fucking phone. I was like, me neither. I was like, that's something to talk about on the podcast, but yeah, so.
Dang. I guess my oopsie was at work. We rotate what we do. So, like, for example, one person is in charge of counting the milk and providing it for each window that serves lunch, and then on a refrigerator for the fast line. And it was my turn to do the fruit, but I didn't know it was my turn to do it because I had done it the previous week and we're supposed to rotate. And I did all 4 windows, and I did the one for the hotline, but I completely forgot to do that little extra pan for the person that's at the hotline for the computer, because sometimes the kids, they don't take it, but they have to take at least a fruit or a juice, so it could count as the whole meal. And I forgot to put hers out, and then later, once lunch was over, she told me, oh, I had to put in raisins and apple crisp because you didn't put my bin out. I was like, oh my god, I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh no,
oh shit, I fucked up. And she's like, no, it's okay, I understand, because we're very short on staff. So I have to get the fruit done first so I can go help them with other things. And she's like, no, I understand, I'm pretty sure you were just in your thoughts trying to get this done so you could help the other girls. I'm like, yeah, it must have been that, but I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But she did seem a little pissed. I was like, oh shit.
Like passive aggressively saying it, like, no, it's fine.
Yeah. I was like, oh fuck.
It's fine that you fucked up. It's fine. You just messed up my line, but it's fine.
Yeah, I was like, oh fuck, and I felt so shitty that whole day.
Oh no.
But yeah, that was my oopsie of the week. I think I'm gonna make a form for like people to share their oopsie, because I know maybe some people don't want us to know who did that oopsie.
Yeah.
So it could be anonymous. I'm gonna add that option for them to share an oopsie.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys share your oopsies of the week and we'll share them.
Yeah.
That way, if we don't have one, we can just share yours. It'll help us out. Give us content.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't have an oopsie.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just too perfect.
We're just naturally perfect human beings, and nothing ever goes wrong. We don't ever almost lose our phones and have no idea.
Or we don't pack the wrong shoes. Or let our children eat their books or their toys.
Or their boogers.
We're not perfect.
No, we're not. Oh my
And no judgment
No,
when you guys
never.
share your oopsie. If you guys share an oopsie.
Yeah, just whatever you guys have done wrong, I'm pretty sure we've done the same or worse.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You guys have listened to almost 20 we have almost 20 oopsies. I know there's some that don't have them, but
yeah,
we're just gonna keep on going.
Yeah,
we're bound to make more mistakes as we go forward. But that is the end of this episode.
Oh wait, before we end, by the time this episode comes out, it's already Halloween.
Yes.
So if you guys want to share your costumes, Go ahead and tag us. We're curious to know what you guys and your family dressed up as.
Yeah.
We'll be sharing ours for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope you guys had a good Halloween.
Be safe.
We hope you guys were safe, because by the time this one comes out,
yeah,
Halloween already passed.
Yeah, so we hope you had a good spooky Halloween. We hope you guys are safe. We hope you guys make your kids trick-or-treat and then eat all their candy. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send Ollie, but me and Caesar are gonna eat everything.
Oh yeah,
I'll give her maybe one piece of chocolate or something.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to keep in touch with us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.